Something interesting is happening here in 2025. There's been a revisioning of EDC. I'm talking about EDC fixed blades. Fixed blades that give you all of the security of a fixed design with no locking mechanism that could potentially fail when you need it the most, all in a format that is relatively easy to carry. And while for the last several years you could find me carrying a folding knife, lately there's been one fixed blade that I've been unable to get out of my pocket. Let's go ahead and talk about the brand new transparent knives Doodle. I am not a fixed blade guy. The amount of times that I have said this has been a lot. I have said it so many times because in most scenarios I'm going to be carrying a folding knife. But ever since the transparent knives Doodle came in, I've been unable and unwilling to get it out of my pocket. It's been so freaking good. And finally, it's time for me to break my silence. If you're wondering who I am, I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny, and I am slowly but surely being converted into someone that enjoys carrying EDC fixed blades. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and define what an EDC fixed blade is for you real quick. An EDC fixed blade is a fixed blade which is small enough to easily carry, but also large enough to have all of the benefits of a fixed blade. It's not my first time delving into EDC fixed blades. One of my favorites so far has been the Axial Alpine V2, and I love that knife dearly, but I don't carry it with as much fervor as I carry this one. It's been so good. The transparent knives Doodle has been a lot of fun to carry, and I'm going to continue to do so. I just figured that it's finally time to break my silence on this knife and give you the details as to why you might want to pick one of these up when the next drop releases, which should be November 23rd. That's the estimated drop time. Now, that being said, that's not a guarantee. So if you want to know for certain when these are going to be available next, make sure to go check out my boy Transparent Knives on Instagram. I'll make sure to link to him below. Follow him there. He posts updates to his knife making and his reblades and all that good stuff very frequently on a daily basis. So the Doodle is a EDC sized fixed blade. It's going to be coming in right around 6.3 inches overall with about a 3¼ inch blade. You could call it a little bit more depending upon where you decide to measure it from, but the cutting edge itself is going to be coming in at about 2.8 inches. We've got a Zer-blasted hollow grind here that gets extremely thin behind the edge. And we also have hollow ground swedges. I don't think I've ever seen hollow ground swedges before, but it's really freaking cool. You could call this a sheep's foot style blade. Some might call it a Warncliffe style blade, but it is of course made of CPM MagnaCut that's been heat treated to 65 Rockwell, or right around that range, 64.5 to 65. It's insane. Most of the time we're not seeing MagnaCut heat treated that high. We're lucky to see it between 62 to 64, and it performs great at that level. But one of the things that Brian from Transparent Knives is known for is for pushing the limits on his heat treat process to create some exceedingly good results. Now, because this is a beautiful deep hollow grind, you get the benefit of both a high Rockwell hardness steel like MagnaCut, but also super thin edge geometry. Of course, supported by the stability of a fixed blade, a full tang fixed blade. That is phenomenal. Now, this is also a knife that's going to appeal to collectors because it is handmade here in the United States, but also it has some features that are not apparent right away. While the blade is sterile, if you were to take a T20 bit and pop off these handle scales like this, you can actually see some cool stuff underneath. Underneath this handle scale right here, you're going to get some milling, got the puppy paws going on, and then a serial number. This one is lucky number 7, and MC stands for MagnaCut. Absolutely beautiful blade finishing here on this full tang design. And we also see a spot where you could of course poke through a lanyard if you decided to mill out this spot right here. Now, I'm not mad about the fact that there is no lanyard hole milled through these scales, purely because, at least for my purposes, I don't necessarily need one to get a full grip on these handles. Now we've got some excellent chamfering going on here, especially with these screws. You can see that the screws themselves are inset a bit. They've got some nice chamfering right there. And then of course also around the edges of those handle scales. It feels really, really good in the hand. My hand molds to these extremely easily, and it feels good in a reverse grip as well. The handles kind of feel like they've been custom fit because they've been trued up by hand. So that means that these scales will not fit on any other Doodle knives that were made, and they've been fit specifically to this specific one. It gives the knife a bit of feeling like it has some soul to it, and it's not just the knife either. This sheath right here is the sheath that came with it. It's made by a guy that makes these by hand out of Arizona called Tailored by Cortez, and I will also make sure to link to him down below. Now, initially, I wasn't a big fan of a leather sheath. Typically speaking, I prefer Kydex. I prefer being able to do a scout carry on this with a horizontal carry going across with some pull the dot loops, because I don't like having big handles sticking out of my pocket when I'm carrying around a knife or when I'm attempting to carry around a fixed blade. But I decided to give this one a chance before going to have another sheath made because I really liked it. There's something about leather that I just can't get over. Maybe it's the fact that it smells really good, or maybe it's the fact that it makes the knife smell really good. It just adds some extra bit of character to it. You'll notice that this one has a little bit of molding going on here where you can see the shape of the blade and the shape of the handle scales. It did not come like that. This came completely flat. The beautiful thing about leather sheaths are that they tend to conform around the handle of the knife that's been put in it. Now, I really enjoy the fact that while this is in a leather sheath, and I don't generally like carrying fixed blades in the pocket, because the sheath covers most of the knife and the handle, you don't really have that much sticking out of your pocket. It's been rather nice to carry a fixed blade around in the pocket and not have a whole big old handle sticking out like, hey, it's me, Mr. Crocodile Dundee. No, it's been nice, and it carries really, really well. And I have to say that if most fixed blades came in leather sheaths like this and covered most of the knife and sank down deep in your pocket, maybe I could get behind carrying one in the pocket more. Now this one, I'm not entirely sure what he calls it. I think he might call it the double X clip, but he also did a round of these sheaths with an ulti clip as well. And that ulti clip is going to be really firm and secure. For me, I chose one that came with this style of clip because I just like the way that it feels in the pocket. Easy in, easy out. I just wanted to have enough retention so that it does what it's supposed to do and doesn't get in the way. And it doesn't take a whole lot to get the whole apparatus out of my pocket if I need to. But given that Transparent Knives is known for some exceedingly high Rockwell hardness heat treats, but also excellent cutting geometry, the question has to be asked, how does she cut? And the answer is extremely well. This has got to be one of the best slicing knives that I currently own. Regardless of how thick that blade spine is, the edge geometry itself is insanely thin, and it glides through materials like nobody's business. I've put this through the ringer already, chopping down boxes to clean up after my wife's latest and greatest Amazon purchases, and I gotta say that not only has the edge stayed extremely sharp to the point where it's still shaving sharp 9 or 10 boxes later, but I don't necessarily feel the need to sharpen it. It's got a very thin edge bevel, and you don't see a whole lot of width there because it's so thin behind the edge. It doesn't need to be wide. Normally, I do like a little bit wider of an edge bevel because it's easier for me to strop. That being said, on this one, I just don't know what to do because it's so freaking thin. I don't need to sharpen it. I don't need to strop it. And when the time does come to put another edge on here, it's going to have plenty of life there. Check out that edge termination in regards to that plunge grind. You got plenty of space right there. It's not going to pop up here on this sharpening choil right there at all. You're not going to run into that plunge grind anytime soon, and that's nice. But there's more going on here. Check this out. He knocked down the edges right there because that's where your finger runs up. So when you are bearing down on the knife, it's not uncomfortable. There's no unnecessary sharp edges. It just feels super comfortable. Now, part of that is due to these black linen micarta handle scales, but the other part is just due to the overall geometry of the handle scales in relation to the blade. Normally, I like to have a little bit of jimping up here, but I haven't really needed it. It feels secure in the hands, and I do get a full 4-finger grip. Now, you might be wondering, well, how will I know if I get a full 4-finger grip? Maybe you just have baby hands. So check it out. From the side of one finger to the side of my pinky, it's right there around 3 3 to 3.2 inches. So you know what, if you're curious about it, just go ahead and just measure from your fingers and that'll be able to tell you, because I have no problem getting a full 4-finger grip on here. And if your finger width is about the same as mine, chances are you won't have any issue either. Now, initially I was thinking, I kind of wish the handles were just a little bit longer, but I've really grown to enjoy the fact that they're not. They fit perfectly in the hand and they don't have a lot of excess coming out the backside of your fist when it comes time to grip it. It just feels natural. It feels second nature. And when I'm carrying this in a folder in my pocket, I find myself reaching for this more than my folding knives. Now, if you're a fan of knives made right here in the United States, this is definitely one to keep your eye out for, because it's under $300. He's going to be releasing another batch, and I imagine that if he does have success on this next release, that he'll continue to do these. I really like this, and I'd really be interested to see what kind of other crazy blade shapes Brian from Transparent Knives can come up with. This one is one he's done before on a smaller variant called the Guppy, but this one in the Doodle is actually the first time he started putting these out into a more frequent production. I want to say that there's 40 of these overall, and I think he did somewhere around 20 in the first batch. The second batch I think is probably also going to have around 20. So these are currently sold out, but guys, they are coming back. So if you are like me and you're getting into these American made small batch handmade EDC style fixed blades, this one is a no-brainer. I don't exactly remember how much I spent on this, but I want to say it was somewhere in the realm of $260, maybe $280. I'll be honest, I don't really remember, but it was under $300, and I imagine that the next ones and the next drop are probably going to be the same. I would love to see some more variants with handle scale materials that are different than micarta. This one, I'm already putting a nice little wear patina on it, but I would love to see some options that have maybe a camo carbon fiber or maybe some titanium. Gosh, titanium scales on here would be crazy. Would it raise the price? I mean, yeah, but honestly, it would be cool, and I'd love to see it. While we wait on November 23rd, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on EDC style fixed blades? Are they making a return to form here in 2025? Is this one that you want to put on your radar? Is it going to be one that's a pass for you? If not, why not? Let's have that discussion down in the comment section down below, guys. And of course, if you want to watch some more awesome knife and EDC content, go ahead and click on one of the videos that pops up next.